Song of Sire Part 2. I am determined to finish this game, to actually finish a version of a game on this channel. The era of unfinished games ends here. Yo hasn't seen Firmly since then, and Firmly hasn't made any effort to approach her or Koji. 4 people used to meet in this cafeteria between classes, but now there are only 2.
ねえ、トノ君、もう一度考えてみようよ。どこかおもみちゃんの行きそうな場所に心当たりない？
いや、一通りは確かめたしな。
Oh yeah, Omi's died. Omi was killed by Saya, eaten by Saya, and eaten by Saki as well. It's a lie, of course. Koji knows where Omi planned to go that evening, but he doesn't want to bring Firmly up in front of Yo. That awkward silence is merciless, is broken by the bell signaling the start of the next period.
俺行くわ。
Unless Koji is mistaken, Yo was supposed to have a class next period too, but she just sits there staring off into space. Unable to come up with anything to say, he leaves the cafeteria reluctantly. But Omi's disappearance and Yo's suppressions worry Koji, and both problems lead back to the exact same place.
海のりは一体。
When Omi went missing, the first thing he did was question Funri. After all, the last place he'd seen her was just before she stormed off to give Funri a piece of her mind. He's piecing the clues together, and it all narrows down. It all narrows down to Funri. Funri responded with unequivocal denial and acted like he hadn't the slightest idea why Omi would have gone to see him. But perhaps that was only natural, as he was unaware that Omi and Koji had witnessed him reduce Yo to tears. So he's still interacting with his friends. And he doesn't know he ate Omni. Did Omi even make it to Fumi's house? She'd been riding a wave of emotion when she'd left, and that might have calmed down and changed her mind halfway there. Or perhaps she ran into trouble on the way. Koji concluded, and more accurately convinced himself, that one of the possibilities was consciously denying the one remaining possibility that Fumi was lying, that he had met Omi and was avoiding the disappearance. Weren't all the other possibilities valid as well? But something could have happened on the way. Stuff like that happens. When questioned by the police, Koji told the truth about Omi's destination only up to the train station, maintaining that he had no idea where she planned to go after that. He wanted to cooperate with the search, of course, but Omi couldn't have made it to Fumi's house. Fumi said so himself, didn't he? In that case, wait, why? In that case, he told the police everything they needed to know. Not wanting to get the still fragile Fumi involved, he forced himself— Wait, am I confused with characters? Am I confusing the characters a little bit? Not wanting to get the still fragile Fumi. Fumi is our main character, right? Fumi is our MC. I know, it's only been like a day since I last played this, but the conflict has built up inside of him without his notice, leaving unanswered suspicion to fester in his mind. Koji is deep in thought, paying no attention to his surroundings, but perhaps that is what allows him to catch sight of his friends back through the crowd of mining students.
海のり。
At first, Koji assumes that he's headed to the lecture hall, but it soon appears that he's instead going home. But we'll follow him and see where he goes. Strange, medical students have required courses in the afternoon. Though he's initially surprised, Koji hesitation lasts only for a second. He follows his friend, taking care to stay far away enough behind that he won't be noticed. And what will you see when you follow him? Firmly wasn't going home, as became obvious when he boarded a train heading in the opposite direction. Somehow I feel like we're nearing the end, but I don't know why, because this is progressing pretty quickly. Like, I feel like maybe all the friends are gonna slowly, disappear one by one, get eaten by Saya and Furumi, because Furumi's a cannibal now.
どこに向かってる？
At first, Koji felt ashamed for telling his friend like this, but his conscience fell silent as Fumi's actions grew more mysterious. The stranger it gets, the closer Koji feels discovering the truth behind Fumi's sudden transformation. Any knowledge will be welcome, no matter how slight. Even Koji is beginning to think that there must be more behind Fumi's change than an accident alone. He wants a more satisfying answer, one that will help him decide whether Fumi can still be trusted. Fumi gets off at a small station in the nondescript suburb of Tokyo. Koji follows, trying not to lose sight of him and the other disembarking passengers. The area is quite desolate, with only a small bookstore, a convenience store, and a market in front of the train station. It is easy for Koji to keep Fumi in view. Well, he's not going home. This neighborhood was carved out of Fuji's foothalls, and here, where is he going? Fumi seems to know these streets. He moves quick. I'm not reading any of this. I can't be bothered. It's just a long-winded description for Fumi heading to a house. Maybe he's looking for food. One hour passes and then another, but there remains no sign of movement around the OG residence. Soon twilight settles upon the neighborhood. After Koji's one pack of cigarettes runs out, the stakeout becomes a battle against mounting impatience. He kills time by redialing Omni in his cell. On his cell. Oh my gosh, I can't be bothered. I actually can't be bothered. But just because I'm trying to speak to quick. When the sky begins to turn a deep blue and the streetlights come on, Fumi finally emerges from the house and heads back toward the station with the same hurried stride. After some brief consideration, Koji decides that right now, investigating the house is more important than tailing Fumi. Oh yeah, he's dead, for sure. The moment he enters the house, stale air filled with mold and dust fills Koji's nostrils. It is the unmistakable smell of a house that has long lain untouched. There's also a faint hint of something else in the air, something reminiscent of damp sewers and fetid cisterns. The pin of the light switch does nothing, the power must be cut. Koji uses a cigarette lighter to illuminate the immediate area. In the thick dust covering the floor, he sees several brand new trails of footprints that could only have been made by shoes. Fumi's. Koji decides on following suit and dispense with courtesy. He enters with his shoes on. The light's flickering flame pushes back the deathly silence and gloom of the house. Koji is surprised to see evidence of life remaining. Everything from furniture to tableware and appliances, nothing seems to be missing. The faintness of the dust suggests that the house has been empty for several months, which means that the owner must have left with little more than the clothes on his back. Could he have gone on a long vacation? The calendar in the den is still turned to April. Empty and sullen, yet still exhibiting signs of life that was once lived there, the house reminds Koji of a passenger ship entombed at the bottom of the sea. In a graveyard-like quiet, a sinister thought suddenly enters his mind. No one is living here, but does that not have to mean the owner left? Maybe he was murdered, and his rotten corpse is right under Koji's feet. He finds himself wanting a stronger light. A flashlight in his hand would make him feel much better. Koji follows Fumi's footsteps of a second. Wait, is Fumi in the same house? No, he's following the footsteps. This isn't Fumi's house, though, is it? It's that doctor guy's. Fumi must have spent most of his time here. The scattered dust suggests that he was searching for something, and the contents of the desk drawers are in obvious disarray. A small pile of books stacked on a side table catches his eye. Being next to the desk, they must have been the most frequently read. Their nature should shed some light on the character of the person who worked here. Koji frowns as he examines the 3 books. These aren't scientific texts like the rest, but old leather-bound Western tomes of the sort you would find in a rare bookstore. The titles are meaningless to him. Okay. Yeah, it's a doctor. With relief, Koji exchanges his lighter for a flashlight. His tiny body emits a powerful white beam that casts away the darkness. His courage restored, he decides to explore the rest of the house. The slime. Dark oily stains are everywhere. The stains are obviously thick around the doorknobs and step banisters, like someone grasped them with their hands, grasped in greasy cloth. Looking closer, he sees a place where slime was splashed low on the walls, almost as if a wet mop was run violently across the floor. Could Oji have made these marks? If so, how? Koji begins to feel sick as he imagines a man shambling through the house with slime dripping from his body. No, I think that's Saya. Finding the bedroom next to the study, Koji checks the closet on a hunch. He discovers 2 empty suitcases, not what one would have left behind when going on a long vacation. A sudden chill runs through him. Whoever was living here is still somewhere inside the house. I mean, maybe. Suppressing the urge to flee, Koji goes back downstairs to check the first floor. If he finds a corpse, he'll have to call the police right away. He might get away with trespassing if he reports it first, but if they find the body later, it'll be awfully hard to explain his fingerprints all over the house. True. Well, see what you find. The flashlight reveals the den to be covered in even more slime than the rest of the house. The sofa looks as though it was degraded from the bottom of a swamp. In the kitchen, Koji takes one look at the sink and decides not to get in any closer. He doesn't want any more fuel for his imagination. Koji braces himself for worse and opens the door slowly, then shines his light into a ceramic bathtub that appears from the darkness like a white ghost. And what do you find? Bones. A mountain of bones, black with dry flesh and blood. Koji puts one hand against the wall to steady himself as his legs threaten to buckle. Something is wrong, he realizes, as he tries desperately to get his thoughts in order. The bones are too small, and there are too many of them. They aren't human. Well, isn't that good? After taking several deep breaths to calm himself, Koji enters his bathroom and examines the tub. The bones are piled atop each other like fallen leaves. They appear to be from small animals, perhaps cats or dogs. Even so, the quantity is mind-boggling. How many bodies would it take to produce this many bones? The bones have all been separated from one another, so it doesn't look like bodies were just thrown into the tub and left to rot. Each bone was covered with deep grooves, marks left by teeth biting through flesh. Koji's sanity won't let him consider the possibility that a human could have done this. The owner of this house must have had some sort of carnivorous animal as a pet, giving it the bones of the small animals to eat and disposing of the remains in the bathtub. Why not dispose of the leftovers properly? They could have just thrown out with the garbage, or was there something keeping him from leaving the house? For relief Koji felt when he realized that the bones weren't humans once again under attack. Is someone gonna pop up behind him? In the first place, what the hell was Fumi doing here? Oh. Koji whirls around, his light revealing Fumi's expressionless face.
お前だって同じだろうが。
It's over, there's no time for conversation. Fumi pushes past Koji and looks into the bathtub. He doesn't even flinch at the sight of the bones.
僕はこの家の人と知り合いなんだ。頼まれて探し物をしに来ただけさ。
知り合いっていつから？一体何者なんだ？
いずれお前にも紹介するよ。僕の恩人とも言える人だから。
おい、文則！
Koji runs after Fumi. His heart is finally beating normal again.
お前まさか近頃様子がおかしいのはその知り合いっていうやつのせいなんじゃ。
Standing at the entrance, Fumi glares coldly at Koji over his shoulder. The utter lack of emotion in his eyes gives Koji pause.
僕の後をつけてきたんだね、コウジ。
Koji swallows. What can he say? The truth?
そういうのは迷惑だ。二度とやらないでもらいたい。
ああ。
Fumi walks away without another word, leaving Koji alone at the entrance. Up until this very moment, concern for his friend was still at the forefront of his mind. Now, however, the concern is swiftly given away to a growing sense of dread. Does the Frimley he know no longer exist? Was the person who just stared Koji down an imposter wearing Frimley's skin? Koji is willing to believe that it might be so. Well, I guess we gotta follow him again, see where he goes. What a nuisance. Why does he insist on interfering? If he only spoke with me to exchange pleasantries, even I could bear it. Now he's sticking his nose into my business just to satisfy his curiosity. Koji is a perfect example of someone who thinks that it's always good to take an interest in other people's affairs. He probably thinks that he's doing me a favour by prying into my life. He can't be more wrong. If he keeps this up, I might have to find some way to deal with him. Yeah, that's the only logical conclusion. Like Sai said, I have to keep my search for Dr. Ogi a secret. Koji could ruin everything. I didn't have time to fully investigate for Ogi's residence today, and at this rate, it'll probably take several days just to go through the study. So I didn't believe I'd find anything to help with the search, but I think there's still a lot to explore. Who knows what we'll discover? I'll discover. Well, later. This is my next door neighbour, Susan, a middle-aged painter I think, who spends all day at home while his wife works. I haven't had much contact with him since the accident. Why is he suddenly talking to me now?
はい、おかげさまで。はあ。
What's this? Did you stop me just to deliver a lecture?
まあそうですね。苦労してます。でもまだ学生の身ですし、高いが限りがあるんで、そういう浪費はちょっと。
The flesh beast undulates foully as though it still has something to say. The sight of it is driving me close to the edge. Now I get it. He's worried about the unsightliness of my house might diminish the image of his own. Damn snob. Really? I don't really get around brushing. Maybe it's true though. Well, it doesn't make a difference. May as well, yeah, if anything, it'd actually be beneficial to get the yard cleaned. He's only drawing more attention to himself by letting his house decline. The appearance of his house decline. I flash a token smile and retreat behind the safety of my gate. I can feel Suzumi's eyes burrowing into my back all the way to the front door. Why won't everyone stay out of my life? I just want to live together with Saya alone where no one will bother us. Suzumi sighs in annoyance as he watches the neighbor boy retreat into his house. What's with his attitude? Even while talking, he kept his eyes averted as if to avoid looking at something repulsive. Has he always been such an unpleasant young man? No, of course not. When his parents were still alive, he had a normal youth, a little shy but sensitive and caring. It must be the stress of this sad situation. If it continues to build, he might start to develop serious mental problems. Or is it too late already? Yusuke wonders as he gazes warily at the Sasaki yard. Was it really that big of a deal? I mean, he was bothering him, not the other way around.
どうしたのあなた難しそうな顔して
今日ね隣の家の息子に会ったよ
お隣のって文則お兄ちゃん
ああ庭のこと一言言っておいた
I have a feeling all these guys are gonna get eaten.
そうよね せめてあの匂いだけはどうにかしてもらいたいわよね。
The stink coming from the Sasaki house grows worse each day, and the Suzume family is at its wit's end.
あの草むらの中に死んだ猫でもいるんじゃないかしら。でも住んでいて気づかないのかしらね、あの匂いに。
まさかとは思うが、生ゴミをそのまま庭に捨てているんじゃあるまいな。
そんな、いくらなんでもそこまで。
いや、今の様子だとやりかねん。一日中ずっと雨戸を閉め切って何をやってるのかもわからない。どういう暮らしをしているのやら。
These people are annoying.
お兄ちゃん、頭おかしくなっちゃっ
I
た
mean,
の
we're talking a lot, but we're not actually coming to any sort of
おい、
solution.
ヒロミ。
いや、あれは本当にちょっとどうすぎてる。
大丈夫なのそれ。
So what
早く
conclusion are we
自覚
coming
して
to?
医者にでも言ってもらわんことには。
But I didn't come to any conclusion, so that conversation was just pointless, basically. I hate conversations like that. The seconds crawled by, each tick of the clock compounding my agony. When I returned from the Ogi residence, I was greeted by a silent empty home. Sarah had vanished without leaving any clues or whereabouts. It isn't right for her to go for walks at night. I've often gone with her. However, such outings always take place in the middle of the night when no one is around and never last for more than 2 hours. Right now it's 5 in the morning. Soon the sky will begin to show the first light of dawn. Even if she left right before I returned, she's still been gone for almost half a day. I can't sleep. I can only wait in anguish. I tried to distract myself by painting more rooms, but I couldn't concentrate on the work. If I had known this would happen, I would have left the Ogi house sooner. I wish I hadn't wasted time on Koji. Asai doesn't return. The thought makes me want to tear out my hair. After its long absence, the terror of true loneliness is too much to bear. At
た
last.
だいま。
Okay.
疲れた。やっぱり往復すると遠いな。
さや、一体どこに？
My question trails off as I notice the thick bundles of paper that she's carrying under her arms.
それは
文則のカルテとか手術の記録。今日は古巣の病院に行ってきたの。
Interesting. See what she found.
こんな夜中に T 台から歩いて戻ってきたのか。
ごめんね。本当はもっと早く帰れると思ってたんだけど、調べ出したらキリがなくて。
I don't see what the problem is. She got some interesting info.
結局全部持ち出してきちゃった。ああ、重かった。
Maybe it's just for exhaustion, but I'm not understanding a word Sarah's saying.
だからそんなもの持ってきてどうするつもりなんだ。
どうするって、もちろん調べるのよ。うちで時間かけてじっくり。あら、何やってんだか。あ、これは要チェックかな。あとは
Well, yeah, maybe she actually has a clue as to what the condition is, because she is the... I don't know what she is, but she's related to Dr. Ogi in some way, and Dr. Ogi is a doctor, so... Who knows?
わかるのか、こういうの。
パパにいろいろと教わったから。なるほどね。
So what's your
こ
conclusion?
れじゃいつまで経っても直せないよね。
直せないのか。
人間のお医者さんじゃね。
Oh. I can't tell if she's being serious.
私でもまだちょっと難しいかな。いろいろと試してからでないと。
Watching more closely, I realized how her eyes are scanning each page rapidly, so rapidly in fact that I was unable to notice it at first. Could Saya actually be reading my charts?
なあさや、
If he returns back to the normal world with... I mean, maybe he's just better off just staying in the gut world for now. Because he's already ruined everything for himself in the normal world. Might as well continue as things are.
今日はもう疲れたし寝ないか。
文則がそうしたいなら そうする。
Okay, here we go. Okay, so I don't even know why this game seems to, because the scene just dragged on and on and on, and I feel like it's just pointless. I feel like it doesn't actually add anything. Well, I guess it just shows how far gone our character is in the generosity of his relationship with Sam, but I mean, that's whatever. Whatever the case, all about, I'm kind of numb to it now. 2 o'clock for Suzumi Yosuke. This is the most fulfilling time of day. 2 o'clock in the morning. Seeing his wife and daughter off, taking care of the morning chores and eating a leisurely lunch, it's time to sit down. It's hard to refocus after that scene. Yosuke's life is perfect, leisurely, and absent of want. He loves his house, considering it a symbol of success when he mows the lawn, polishes the window and floors, and cleans the kitchen and toilet and bath. He feels the same joy as he does when washing his own body. He really loves his house. Just so he knows the length of his own fingernails and the time since his last meal, he also knows everything about his house condition, the state. Wow. Yeah, he really loves his house. Oh, I see. Oh, I thought the wife and kid would be gone, and so I like killed them and ate them, brought them for lunch. He listens carefully but hears nothing. Perhaps the intruder has already finished his business and left, but likely wouldn't have left room untouched, would he? Maybe he heard Yosuke coming and hid somewhere nearby. Yosuke realized that his still wet palette knife is in his right hand. He must have gotten to it outside before going downstairs. He stares dumbly at the knife for a moment and decides that it's not enough protection. Why? Instead he grabs that ashtray. Is that somehow better? Sitting on top of the table made of thick solid glass, it is big and heavy enough to serve as a weapon. The home that he thought of himself now seems utterly alien. Keenly aware of the thumping of his heart, Yosuke looks around the living room and sees little that could be used as a hiding place. The intruder must have gone either to the guest room or through the dining room to the kitchen. Well, this is during the day, right? I mean, I don't know. He might be able to, I guess from his perspective, he might be able to, like, handle him. But maybe you should, like, call the cops or police or whatever, and then handle him as well. So that way, if something happens to you, the odds of thief or perpetrator getting away decrease. You can, like, hold them while the police come, or something like that. I don't know what his logic is at this point. I'm not really bothered. But what is that stench? Could the breeze alone carry something so foul? It's as if the odor is coming from inside the house. He readies his ashtray and opens the door. What does he see? The straw man Japanese room is empty. There's a closet, but no one could fit in there. No human could fit there. So the intruder already left. Yosuke relaxes, the exhaustion of a sudden relief. Okay, so from dogs to humans, no, from hunting like small animals to hunting humans, Saya's escalated in her hunts. Because the first time she ate Omi, it was like situational, but now she's actually going outside to look for humans. As her hideous voice babbles in his ear, something cold and soft crawls atop of him. Yosuke can't even scream, his terror is so great. Thin, tube-like appendages penetrate his ears and nose, running deep into his skull. Right before the sensation drives him mad, Yosuke loses consciousness.
お時間を取っていただいてありがとうございます。
Huh. Well, yeah, Saya still isn't heartless. But why did she suddenly decide to start going for humans now? What happened to just keeping it to small animals? That's what I'm curious about. Why the sudden change in behavior? Thank you for taking the time to see us, Koji says, his humble bow concealing his surprise at the doctor's youth. Even without her light makeup, she wouldn't look a day over 30. She must be quite talented to be leading a leading neurosurgeon at such a young age.
いいのよ。あなたたちみたいな人が来てくれたのは私としてもありがたい。